everybody, it's Alisa Marie here, having another Martini Talk. Hi, my sweet lifers. Today I'm hanging out with one of my friends, Jesse Carter. He has a transitional career services, and you're doing all kinds of cool stuff with, I'm assuming, young entrepreneurs and also people that are in the executive and corporate world.
Yes, ma'am.
So talk to me today about what you're doing and your story, your journey, and
All right.
yeah.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're absolutely welcome.
Yeah. Carter Career Transitional Services. We've been around for a few years now. We legitimized the company 3 years ago because I started out in staffing back in '97.
Okay.
And I started out in the oil and gas. You know, you go through the ups and downturns of oil and gas.
And it's always that way, isn't it? It just seems like it's always that way.
And then, so, I said, I got tired of, being laid off when they didn't need you, right? And
being yelled at to come back when they do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so basically what I did was I took a leap of faith, and I reinvented myself as a subject matter expert in staffing.
Perfect.
And so what that consisted of is I had to target certain industries that I need to understand better from a staffing perspective. So what happened was I started building out staffing companies for owners, entrepreneurs, investors. And basically their ideology is, hey, once we get profitable, we'll sell it. There's no attachment to it, right? So
gotcha.
You had to not attach yourself to it. And then I started thinking, I said, wait a minute. I'm doing all this, making a lot of money for people.
Sure.
Corporations, helping them save millions of dollars. But what am I actually doing for the people? And all I'm really doing is getting them or helping them get a job.
Right.
But what about the ones that didn't get the jobs?
Right.
Right. What am I helping them? And one of the things that I pride myself on is, I do mentor, coach basketball. I do believe in giving back to the community. Mm-hmm. So I said, wait a minute, how can I tie in my professional staffing with that piece, with the service piece?
Right.
And so that's where CCTS came about. So basically what we do at CCTS, we have 3 different verticals. The first vertical is still on the corporate side.
Okay.
Where we still help corporations do their thing, whether it's training development, whether it's, putting in staffing processes that work, whatever it may be. We're kind of like a consulting company that goes in and says, let me listen to you, let's see if we can help you and see how we can help you. So that's one vertical.
Okay.
And then the second vertical is your professionals, right? So you have professionals at all levels. You have professionals that's coming right out of high school. Mm-hmm. They may work at McDonald's and they may not understand that, hey, if you don't want to go to college, you could actually make a good living being a manager at McDonald's.
Absolutely.
Or GM.
Absolutely.
And then, you have those, and then I have people that have PhDs that have been doing something and they've been undervalued their whole career, and they don't understand how to take themselves to the next level. So I have a lot of those clients. I mean,
they're kind of in a different spot.
Different spots, so all over the place.
Okay.
And then the third vertical is actually new. We've been working with some school districts to help with, and we call it kids with unique abilities.
Okay.
Different levels of Down syndrome. Sometimes they may have brain disorders or something like that. But what we do is we help them get jobs in the workforce. And so we'll do career coaching, job coaching. We do what we call intellectual sessions. And excuse me, when I first got started, it was during COVID because, of course, we were doing everything virtual. So I haven't had the luxury to do these things in person with them yet, but all of the virtual classes that we've held or been a part of, all the job coaching sessions that we've been a part of, we've been able to make some impact. So now I've developed some tier 2 relationships with directors.
Okay.
And I don't want to work directly with the school districts because then they limit some things that you can do.
Right.
Which you can be a part of. And so I'm okay with being a servant. And so a lot of these directors will reach out to me and say, hey, can you do some job coaching? Can you do this? So right now, just in 6 months, I've gained contracts with 6 directors right now, I think.
Good.
So that's a growing part. That wasn't part of the original plan, but hey, as you know, with your business, sometimes God takes us.
God just takes you in a different direction, and that's the beautiful thing about this channel, and for all of y'all that watch on a regular basis, every single human being has been given gifts.
Yep.
And the finding of those gifts, the discovery of those gifts is what I like to do. I like to share that with my story of how I've found mine and what I've done. And then now with young entrepreneurs.
Yep.
You know, that's one of the programs that I'm working on is you know, meeting with young kids who don't really know exactly where they want to be or who they want to do, what they want to do, and helping them figure out that navigation, hopefully to launch their own companies. But obviously many of them may end up figuring out that they would be better serving the world by using their gifts working for somebody else. But the initial kind of conversation is in helping young entrepreneurs figure out what their gifts are and how they can shape and change the world. So
yeah, and that's one of the challenges that I'm having, because I think what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to engage 2 generations down through the parents and getting the parents to understand, you know, even myself as a basketball coach, you know, I love sports. If you think about it, if your child plays sports and they start out at 5 or 6, by the time they graduate, you spent probably over $100,000 on them to play sports. Yeah. But less than 0.5% are even going to go to college playing sports or beyond that, right?
Right.
So, and then parents get frustrated because then the child may not go to college. And then they say, well, what are you going to do? And they get frustrated because Johnny's still at home not doing anything or can't figure it out. Well, my question is, how much have you invested in them to do that? I bet you Johnny can go shoot a basketball anytime you want him to, or throw a football. But how much time have you and money have you invested in him or her to help teach them how to manage their career?
Right. And
that's powerful, because if just like school, right? School is one part of your career. This is only one part. You know, I have students right now that come out of college and they don't know what the world they want to do.
Right.
And it's like parents, and they've made spend a lot of money, they have a lot of debt, and they're still lost, and they end up taking something just because they got to start paying back this stuff. And then it takes them on a whole nother different road that they ain't even
20 years later.
Yeah. And so, you know, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get awareness around that piece. You know, getting that child that's in high school that, you know, they may not go to college, or even if they do go to college, helping them better define, help them understand the value and putting money back in themselves. Because if I would have known these things when I was that young, I would have been rich by now. But yeah, I mean, these are some of the things that I'm very passionate about. You know, I get people all the time, you know, professionals, they say, you're not going to make any money doing that because parents are not going to spend any money. I'm like, you're probably right. But I still believe in this. See,
that's the thing that brought me to you. Is because that's the component about you and what you're doing that aligns with mine. And I don't care about the money.
Yep.
Because it's not about money.
Yep.
It's not about the money. It's about helping somebody young not find themselves at 40 head bound, in debt, miserable, heart disease and diabetes, miserable because they made the wrong choices, because they didn't sit down with somebody who could help them find the vision. And it's not hard when you approach a child, and I say a child, when I say a child, I mean like 18 to 25, right? Not a child, but a young adult. Help them figure out what they would do for free. This is the thing. What would you do? What would you just be doing? Because that's the answer. So often, if you go and ask somebody, okay, what do you love to do? And they come back to you and they say, I love to cook, or I love to garden, or I love to whatever it is that they like to do. Draw, animate, code, come up with, just name anything, right?
Yep.
Put things together, invent things. You can help them understand all the different things that can come from that. Some of it involves college, some of it does not involve college, some of it involves experience where they could maybe get a mentorship and learn that way, and then figure, oh, well, maybe that's not what I want, but I also from that experience learn that this might be.
Yep.
The years of the early learning years after college, I mean after post high school, should be about figuring out what they are passionate about.
Yep.
And that passion is spirit filled. It's a spirit filled situation. I mean, no apologies to be made for that. Because I feel like every single thing that we have got as gifts were given to us for a specific reason to give back to the world. That's what we're supposed to do. And the money does matter in paying the bills. Let's not be stupid and say it doesn't. But the idea of what my daddy did, which was small, poor farm kid in eastern North Carolina, smart. Go get an Air Force, go get the GI Bill. What's the one thing I can do that'll make the most money? The whole goal was, what's the one thing I can do to make the most money? It was not, what am I passionate about? What has the Holy Spirit given me as a gift?
Yep.
What is that? What is that? And and he did an amazing job. God rest his soul. Women are still talking about him to this day, and he's been dead for 18 years. He got them pregnant. He was the first to do reproductive endocrinology in North Carolina. He could find cancer and get it out of the uterus and the fallopian tubes fast. His partner, we just visited North Carolina a month ago, was still talking about Daddy's little fat fingers and how he could tie up a woman and get those stitches done really quick. And his work of tying and sutures was just amazing. And he did a good job, but he was not in the exact thing he could have been in that would have given him a sweet life.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
So he had to retire early because of heart disease and diabetes. Every year, I remember at Christmas, he would buy canvases and paint. There's paintings in this house that he did. And every year he would buy them, and then they'd go shoved in the closet. He'd go back to the hospital, go back to catching babies, go back to work. Never took the time to do something else. And then on his birthday, he dropped dead at 64. So for me, life is so short.
Yep.
It's got to be sweet.
Yep.
It's got to be right. You got to meet the people you're supposed to meet, which is why I'm so excited about being friends with you. You've got to help people in the ways that you can help them without thinking one thought about money. Money's not got one thing to do with it. So when you say to me, oh, people are asking you about the parents are going to pay, who cares? Who cares if they pay for it? I thought about actually putting on Instagram, hey, I'm going to do an entrepreneurial program for like 20 kids for free for a year.
Yep.
And then let them do their testimony of what they've experienced and learned. But just give 20 kids, first come, first serve, knowing that the God above will bring the right ones to me to help. And then through that experience, make a difference.
Yep.
And, I think that it's amazing what you're doing. I love the fact that you're bringing that into your things that you're doing, because it's part of being good and kind.
Yeah, I thought about it in a lot of different ways. Sometimes we forget that along the way, whether how perfect you think your life was or not as a child, there was a lot of pieces there that I had to reflect on and say, you know what, somebody helped me do that.
Yeah.
Somebody helped me do this.
Yeah.
It may not have been deliberate or intentional, but there were certain people placed in my life in certain times, whether I just received information from them to do something, or they physically gave it to me, but there were people along the way at every stage of my life that helped me do something different. And so my thing was like, hey, I'm not the perfect human being, but I do have something to give back. And how do I intertwine that with my daily stuff, my work? And that's where, again, that's what CCTS has been created. It's been a blessing because, to be honest with you, I legitimized it probably 6 to 8 months before COVID started. And the year of COVID, last year was probably our best year, period. Like, I've done better that year than I did working in corporate America. And it wasn't a blueprint to it. It wasn't, it was just basically.
It was a God thing.
Yeah, it was just basically be saying, hey, you know what, it's time. My wife pushed me for so long, and she's like, you know what, you should be doing this. Why are you always doing this for everybody else? You should do it for yourself. Yeah. Even if you're still helping other,
right.
corporations and stuff like that.
Right.
But do something for yourself that you can control, that you can leverage who you're helping and how you're going to help them. So that's pretty much what we're all about. I've had some people, a lot of the people are still skeptical because they want to know what's in it for me. They want to see the results. They want you to tell them something that's going to happen by going through our program or something like that. And it's like, I can't do that. Only thing I can do is really we put together programs to help engage you along the way, and we learn things about all of our clients as we're going.
Right.
I'm still learning stuff.
It's always a journey.
So it's not. We don't. I had a prospect the other day, and the first thing I tell people is that I don't sell my services to anybody. I listen to you. I let you know how we can help you, if we can help you, because we can't help everybody.
Right.
And then we let you make a decision. And this person called me back, sent me an email back and says, hey, I thought about, the program, but no one ever reached back out to me. So I was kind of skeptical because normally when people are trying to sell something,
they're back. Push.
Yeah. And I said, hey, you remember our conversation? I'm not selling you anything. It's just basically I heard something in our conversation and I really feel passionate about. I feel like I can help you with that. And there's some people that I've said, hey, I can't help you. Part of it's attitude and perception. Right now, everything is based around what I call institutionalized education, institutionalized employment. So, it's great to be a part of those institutions, but you got to be able to think outside of those.
I was going to say, maybe it was for you, but darling, I've never worked for anybody but myself my whole entire life. So
when I say that, I mean, some people feel like it's stable.
Right.
Some people may be comfortable in those situations, but I say to those people, don't complain.
Oh, yeah.
Because what happens is, even in institutionalized learning, I have a video that we did about, how kind of the high school transition is kind of for certain ethnic groups geared towards helping them, or I guess I have to be careful how I say this, leaning more towards them going into the prison life or to the crime world, because what happens is in institutions, as African American men, sometimes we get treated a little different in these institutions, and women too. And what happens is then it translates to the outside world. And all you know is that I need to work for somebody, I need to go to somebody's school, and I need to do something for somebody to make money. But you never think about the freedom that you have to create something. And that's what you have to have, the balance. The institutions teach you how to make money. They teach you how to make corporations richer, but they don't teach you how to create things for yourself.
Right.
And like you were saying, I'm really big on work-life balance. So if I'm making a whole lot of money, but I don't have time to exercise, don't have time to spend time with my family, don't have time to eat right, then I don't care about the money.
The money. Who cares?
Because I don't want to be sick.
No. You don't want to wake up 20 years later.
Yep.
And you got a whole pile of damn money.
Yep.
And your children don't even want to come see you because they don't know you, they don't respect you, they don't have a clue.
Yep.
You have to understand that a full life, a sweet life, which is what I've preached.
I love that term.
That living a sweet life is not about making money. People are like, oh, you're living a really sweet life. You've made all this money in photography. You know what? I have been very successful, but I'm successful pretty much in everything that I do because once I lock and load, I'm hell bent. You can't. Once I'm locked and loaded, you can't move me off of it. That's one of the nice things about this personality is that if I see what I want, I know how to go get it. I might take 5 years to go get it or 10 years to go get it, or as we're now talking with a bunch of illustrators, 15 years put on the back burner 3 children's books. So now I'm going to be back to illustrating and resurrecting my children's books.
Okay.
Because I feel like there's messages there that teach the younger children about how to live a sweet life that needs to come out, that needs to be published. But I see what I want, which is why I feel like I'm absolutely like you are in a perfect position to be able to show and share with young people how to do that too. Because what they may want when they get there may not be what they really want.
Yep, it's true.
Right?
That's very true.
How many kids have you met? I know I've met a ton that have paid for med school or law school, and as soon as they're done with all this school, they realize that's not what they want to do, and they're like, "Oh gosh, what now? I've got to pay all this school debt off." And I'm like, "Why don't we?" Two things. And y'all that follow me will follow along. You already know how I feel about this. You know, we spend all this time getting ready for babies, right? Babies. We plan the nursery. We have parties. We do all this crazy stuff with all these push out the rockets these days now with the powder blue or pink parties. Okay? When we get ready to die, it's just as important. But nobody wants to plan the funerals with what's going to be said and what's going to be sung and what's going to be done and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-do, right? So I've been a big proponent of we need in our world to seriously develop a comfortable relationship with planning our death as well as we do planning for birth. When you talk about a life created, it's not too much to ask an 18-year-old or to give them 2 years to think about what they want to spend the rest of their life doing.
Exactly.
There's no reason to shove them out the door and stick them in school and say, you must decide. There's no reason for it. And how many kids have found themselves in that position, and then, again, 20 years later, oh crap, I really hate this. I really don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to be whatever it is that they did. But gifting them 2 years of just really thinking about, praying on it. What am I good at? What do I love to do? What will I do for free? That's the key. So you and I are on the same page on a lot.
Yeah, you know, I talk to parents a lot about that. And for example, you know, I partner with ChickfilA because they have a lot of nice programs.
They really do.
And one of the owners, I actually hired his son out of college to go into one of the consulting companies that I was working with. And we were talking about this, and one of the great things about programs like this that like Chick-fil-A has is because it doesn't really pressure them to go to school right away. It says, hey, you know, take this time, come work, nice environment. They have like sessions like every month or something that give you opportunities to go see different things, you know, and then along the way, you may want to be a manager at Chick-fil-A. They even have programs to teach you how to own your own Chick-fil-A. Right. And then they have the college tuition. So, okay, you figured it out. You think you want to go to college to do this? So I think that's really important, and that's what we try to do at CCTS. We try to catch you in that time, whether you're in high school or college, and even if you're already in school, right? While you're going to school, have these sessions to reflect on what you're doing with your school, and are you going in the right direction? Right. Because you can always shift focus while you're there, right? And I think that's important because you know, I've had some parents that say, well, you know, Johnny's already in school, he already knows what he wants to do. Are you sure about that? Yeah. You know, and that's all we're here is to help with that reassurance and help maximize Johnny's capabilities and success. Yeah. You know, help teach him how to do that, because so many times we rely on corporate America to do that for us. Yeah. I'm going to work for my raise. I'm going to wait for someone to promote me. What? Like, You know, and you see it all the time.
My sister's involved in corporate America, and I just am absolutely befuddled with the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go in and have a little conversation with somebody about getting a raise. I'm going to go in and have a little conversation about somebody about getting promoted. I'm going to go in and have a little conversation about blah, blah, blah. And it reminds me, oddly enough, that you mentioned it earlier, it reminds me of high school. It is like, it's sort of like an extension of it. It is institutionalized. And a lot of people, I guess, feel very comfortable in that little peg.
Some people do.
Getting on that elevator and going up and going into that cubicle and doing what you do and take the check and go home. And boy, Saturday looks good every week.
Yep.
Saturday and Sunday are like, oh my gosh, every week. And it's completely different in the mindset of an entrepreneur. I mean, like for me, it's like I told you before we mic'd up. Every day for me is different, and I'm loving every single day. And I have no idea sometimes what's going to happen, and it's perfectly cool, and I'm able to fly like that. But I cannot imagine. I would be absolutely bonkers miserable if I had every single day to report to a certain room, do the same thing, and the hours would go by, and I'd be told when to go eat lunch, or whatever, or when I could take a vacation, when I couldn't take a vacation. All of it just seems like miserable. I can't imagine.
The other good thing about what we do is we take that individual because everybody, they're not going to be as fortunate to take that leap of faith, right? And say, hey, you know, I really don't like corporate America, but, you know, this is maybe there's financial situation or their spouse situation or whatever it is. Cause them to be, they need to do that, right? So the other component is what we do is we help teach you how to maximize that to make it work for you, to understand it from these different areas. How even if you are going to be in an institutionalized work environment, how do I maximize that? How do I get someone to see my value? How do I control whether I get a raise or not, or promotion or not? You know, getting people to understand it may not be in that company. Show them how to promote themselves
to a different company.
Right? Because self-marketing, as you know, is all about getting the right people to value you or match your values, and then they're going to take you to the level that you need to go, or give you that opportunity. Because they see a specific value in you that maybe this company that you've been working for 20 years they don't care to see. And it's all about this. It's a numbers game. And, you know, the more people you reach out to, the more passionate you are. And that's just for me. I haven't done anything special. I just continue to be in the space. I talked to a CEO of a company in Florida the other day, and he says, well, how did you find me? You know, he says, I don't have any, you know, open positions, but, you know, I want to talk to you about some stuff. You know, I thought it was intriguing about some of the things you were doing. And if I never worked for this guy or do anything for him, it was a great connect, right? And someone else knows something that you're passionate about, and that word is spread. That's what it's all about. And then the things that need to come back around to you, they'll come back.
Always. That's the thing that's so fabulous about understanding the living the sweet life, right? You know, understanding that whole...
Give me a shirt to say that.
Understanding all that stuff. It is one of those things that is just so beautiful when you figure out, and it's people come into your life for a reason and a season. Some are here forever to stay. Some are here only for a little bitty blip. But what they leave or drop is either a lesson learned or a lesson, you know, to save. Lesson to be like, oh my gosh, don't do that again, or oh my gosh, let's keep doing this together. So I want to thank you so much for being here. And did you want to say something else? You sound like you.
Oh no, I mean I appreciate you, you know, allowing me to come in your space. Your beautiful home.
Thank you.
You know, I saw some of the things that you're doing, and I think that from a spiritual standpoint, I think, you know, there's a match there. You know, I like to be around positive energy all the time. There's one thing, if it's not love, peace, and happiness, I don't deal with it.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, you have to separate some people away from that you don't want to, but hey, at the end of the day, life is short. So.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's what's really happened to me all this last little bit. My pivot has been to choose.
Choice.
I choose who I spend time with. I choose who I serve. And those people who are supposed to be with me are here with me. And those people that are not, they just sort of go away. they automatically know they're not belonging.
Yeah.
You know, they can't. You can't stay around somebody that's positive for very long if you can't feed into the negative. There's no negativity. There's no negativity. So
I'll be honest, I don't go to church very often, but just one thing, the last time me and my wife went to church that stood out that I've been like carrying with me, and I almost made it my new motto, is when the preacher said you have to know your company policy. And he was talking about who's in your space. And, you know, you think people should be in your space and you don't want to let them out of your space, but you have to create your own company policy. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, it's
good stuff.
It's good
it's
stuff.
Good
So I've kind of made that my motto, you know, just know your company policy.
Yeah. And that's, living the sweet life, we have our company policy. We sure do over here. I do. I promise you I do. God is my witness. I do. I have my policy. And you're part of it.
Thank you.
So I really want to thank you for being here. I hope you guys have found some value in this. If you have, do us a favor, like and share. Don't forget to ring the bell. All of the information on how to get a hold of Jesse is going to be in the information episode notes below. And we'll see you soon on the channel. Take care.
Thank you.